Have you ever wondered why, in Scripture, it was always men who went to the mountains to commune with God? Moses climbed Mount Sinai. Elijah fled to Mount Horeb. Jesus withdrew to mountainsides to pray. The disciples followed him up the Mount of Transfiguration. But where were the women in these mountain encounters? Today, I want to tell you a story that will change how you see God's heart for women forever, and why you don't need to feel guilty about missing your morning devotions. Throughout biblical history, we read about men having these dramatic mountain experiences with God. They climbed high places, spent days in solitude, and received visions and revelations. Meanwhile, women seem absent from these spiritual summits. It's easy to feel like maybe women are somehow less spiritual, less called to deep encounters with the divine. Modern women often carry this same burden. We feel guilty when we can't maintain consistent quiet times, when our prayers are interrupted by crying babies, when our Bible reading happens in fragments between carpools and cooking. We wonder if we're failing spiritually because our relationship with God doesn't look like the mountain-climbing men we read about. But what if I told you that God's approach to women throughout Scripture reveals something beautiful about His character? What if the reason women weren't climbing mountains wasn't about spiritual inequality, but about divine intentionality? Here's the truth that will transform your perspective. Women couldn't abandon their responsibilities to climb mountains because they were too busy keeping life going. They couldn't leave babies unfed, homes unattended, fires unlit, gardens untended, and 1,000 daily responsibilities to make the climb into the mountains. But here's what's beautiful. God didn't ask them to. Instead, He came to them. Look at how God encounters women throughout Scripture, and notice where He finds them. Hagar was in the wilderness, fleeing domestic conflict, when the angel of the Lord appeared to her by a spring. She wasn't seeking a spiritual experience. She was trying to survive. Yet God met her in her desperation and gave her promises for her son's future. Rebecca was at the well, doing the daily chore of drawing water for her family, when God orchestrated her meeting with Abraham's servant and her destiny as Isaac's wife. Her ordinary task became the backdrop for an extraordinary calling. Rachel was watering her father's sheep, fulfilling her family responsibilities, when Jacob saw her, and love changed both their destinies. Her faithful service in everyday duties positioned her for God's plan. The pattern continues throughout Scripture. Mary was in her home, probably doing household tasks, when the angel Gabriel appeared to announce she would bear the Messiah. God didn't call her to a mountain. He visited her in her ordinary day. Martha was in her kitchen preparing a meal when Jesus came to her home. Yes, Mary sat at His feet, but notice, Jesus came to their house. He met them in their space of hospitality and service. The Samaritan woman was drawing water at the well, another daily chore, when Jesus revealed Himself as the Messiah. Her mundane task became the setting for the most important conversation of her life. Share this video with a woman who needs to hear that her ordinary life is extraordinary to God. Comment below about where God has met you in your daily responsibilities. Your testimony might be exactly what another woman needs to hear. And remember, dear sister, you don't have to go to the mountain because God comes to you. Your kitchen is as sacred as any mountaintop when His presence fills it. Your daily life is your spiritual life, and He is present in every moment of it. Subscribe for more encouragement that honors the sacred in your ordinary, and reminds you that God's heart beats especially tenderly toward women who are faithfully tending the life He's entrusted to them. Thank you, and God bless you.